So it seems that there has been many requests to continue in the series about the Holy Temple in Yerushalayim. In fact, the last video that we put up had more than 30 hits. Tremendous. So we could see that there's a huge amount of people out there who are thirsting for this knowledge about the rebuilding of the third temple and the coming time. And it is a very timely discussion now as we entered into the 3 weeks and we come close now to Tisha B'Av, the anniversary of the destruction of the first and second temples. So I thought I would share with you a little bit about the halachot of Beit Bechira, the laws of the chosen house, written by, of course, none other than the Rambam, Neshe Yisrael, the great eagle of Israel. Now, before we start over here, it's very interesting to see that during these times, it seems that everyone's coming out with laws about the 3 weeks, about the 9 days from Rosh Chodesh, etc., especially this year, where it falls on Sunday instead of Saturday, so there's special laws for that. And that seems to be all that everyone is really talking about. They're talking about the laws of mourning, how we have to sit. In fact, it gets so absurd that you actually go into certain stores and you could find cheers made especially for mourning for Tisha B'Av, and a little sign underneath with the badatz, halacha. It's made especially according to all the laws of halacha. I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't believe you eat it. But in any case, it's really absurd that so much is focused on the laws of mourning, how a person has to act during these days, etc. Now, of course, all that's good and true. But the main focus always has to be on the rebuilding. For 2,000 years, the Jewish people have been in exile, away from their home, wandering. And obviously, the only thing that we could do is to cry over our destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. How absurd it is then today, with the return of the Jewish people, 6 million strong Jews who are living now in the land of Eretz Yisrael, that we are still focusing on the laws of mourning. Certainly it is time to look ahead to the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. Certainly the time has come to stop the fast, to stop the mourning, and instead of it, to go up to the Temple Mount, everyone with their kalim, with their hammers, with their screwdrivers, with their nails and their boards, and to come up and start the construction of the Beis Hamikdash. If we look at the general picture, that's what happens over here. We get lost with the whole forest. We see just the trees, and we focus just on the individual trees when we lose the entire picture that there is a forest going on over here. Let us ask ourselves, what does the Kadosh Baruch Hu want? As we saw by the prophet Haggai, the call came out through the prophet, you're sitting in your nice houses, while the house of the Kadosh Baruch Hu is destroyed. Certainly, if we really delve into the matter and really think about what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, what God really wants from us, it's not to buy a cheer for Tisha B'Av and to sit in and say, oh, look how religious I am. I'm doing all the laws of mourning. Oh, I'm learning Eov, and I'm looking over the chapters of Yirmiyahu that talk about the destruction, and I'm reading Keynote, etc. No, God doesn't want any of that. Put that all away in the dustpan. Put it into a museum, and we could talk about how we did mourn. God wants us up to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. And this is really what the Rambam opens up over here, Maimonides, with the book of the chosen house. In fact, it's important to remember that we talk about the laws, the codified laws that the Rambam brought out over here. We really talk about the Rambam being the only Rishon who really dwelt about these halachot, about the Beis Hamikdash. So we turn to him. All the other Rishonim and the codified laws that we have, including the Shulchan Aruch written 500 years ago, talk about halachot that the Jews had to do on a daily basis. That chalavi spoon that fell into the chulun pot, how to wash your hands in the morning, etc. But the Beis Hamikdash, which wasn't relevant to their times, is disregarded, except for the Rambam. So we turn to the Rambam, the great Nesher of Yisrael, the great eagle of Israel, and we see what he has to say about the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. He starts off in chapter 1 in the first law, Mitzvah aseh lasot bayit l'Hashem. It is a positive commandment to build a house for God. Muchan liot makrivim bo korbanot, which will be readied to bring sacrifices V'chogigim alav shlosha pa'amim, and the Jews will go up to it 3 times a year for the 3 major holidays. V'asuli migdash, as it says, I shall make you a sanctuary and I will dwell within. Here the Rambam opens up with a very interesting statement. Mitzvah aseh, it's one of his tayag mitzvot, it's one of the 613 commandments. Here I'd like just to take a moment and to understand exactly what that means. What does it mean when we say we have a mitzvah? We have a commandment. Well, it's very simple, and sometimes because it's so simple, it gets lost. A commandment is something that was commanded upon the Jewish people. Why? Because it's in our hands to do. If it was something that was not in our hands to do, if it was an impossible task, something that's out of this world, it would not be a command, obviously. God would not command us anything that we could actually not do. So we have lots of commandments which are imparted upon the Jewish people. We have the commandment to pray every day. We have the commandment to keep Shabbos. We have the commandment to put on tefillin, talit, etc. Some commandments are for the Kohanim. Some commandments are just for the Levites. Some commandments are for Israel. Some commandments are for the women, etc. But a command is, in its explanation, something that is commanded upon us to do because it's possible to do. So all those who come along and say, well, the temple will fall from heaven. In fact, if you look at the Rambam's book over here, which I'm holding up beautifully, we don't find a word or half a word, anything about falling from heaven. We don't find anything that talks about waiting for a particular person in order to build it. All of that's not here in the laws of the chosen house. The Rambam does write, it's a tayag mitzvah, it is a positive commandment to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. And that is incumbent upon all the Jewish people. Now I can't emphasize enough. If it's a commandment upon the Jewish people, that means that there's no excuses. That means that we don't have anything that we could say, oh, we can't do it, we don't understand, we're not up to that level. We don't say that with other commandments, do we? No. Do we say that, oh, the Jewish people are not on that level, so I'm not going to keep Shabbos? No, we don't say that. Do we say that we're waiting for tefillin to fall from heaven? No. You go out, people who make the tefillin, they go through the process, it takes a long time, then you go in and you purchase your tefillin, you actually do things in order to fulfill the commandment. We give good money in order to fulfill commandments. We buy the best etrog. We want to beautify our commandments. But when it comes somehow to the Beis HaMikdash, everyone's leaning back, oh, we can't do it. The Am's not ready. The excuses are from A to Z. We don't know, we don't understand, everything is over here. But once again, the point is that if it is a commandment upon the Jewish people to build the Beis HaMikdash, Vasuli Mikdash, you shall build the temple, then it's obviously possible for us to do it. This is the most important fact over here that we have. It is upon the Jewish people to wake up and to fulfill this commandment as we do fulfill all the other commandments that we run after. If we are truthful to our brothers and sisters who are sitting in Chutz La'aretz and outside in the Gullus, who are waiting around for some pilot to come and to take them back to Eretz Yisrael, or to the Jews in Eretz Yisrael, it's upon us to get up off the floor, arise, roll up your sleeves, and get to work to fulfill the very important commandment that the Rambam brings down over here, the commandment for building the temple. It is upon each and every one of us to do his part, whatever could be done, whether it's teaching, whether it's bringing awareness to the other Jews, whether it's going up to Har HaBayit as the first step in order to fulfill this commandment. But everyone must do their part. Everyone must say, enough of the exile, enough of the mourning. Let our focus be on rebuilding the Beis HaMikdash. No, we don't wait around for someone, any particular person. We don't go around with hard hats because we're afraid the temple's going to fall from heaven. That's not what's written over here in the Rambam. Oh no. The Rambam, mitzvah aseh la'asot bayit l'Hashem. It is a positive commandment to build a house for God. A commandment means that it's possible for us to do, and it's our obligation to do it, as our rabbis taught us. In every generation that the temple isn't built is as if, in that generation, it has been destroyed. I'm Levi Chazan. Until next time.